Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you are watching this. Welcome. I'm Lori Kennedy, founder of the Wellness Business Hub, and in this super short training video, we're going to talk about what an online business is for practitioners and coaches, and I'm going to help you to decide if having a full online practice, a partial online practice is right for you. One of the questions that I get asked a lot is, do I have to go fully online? And I think that a lot of practitioners and coaches don't even really know what it means to have an online practice. I'm not talking about telehealth. I'm talking about having a fully functioning online business. So let me know in the comments if you have questions about running an online business, about what that means for you. Maybe you're regulated, maybe you are licensed, maybe you lay hands on people like a chiro or an osteopath or a massage therapist. We get lots of those types of practitioners in our community, and they often have questions like, well, if I have to lay hands on people, like, how am I supposed to do that virtually? So let me know if you have questions or comments. If you're watching on the replay, feel free to put them below, and we will definitely answer them. Let me know if you are on with me live. I can see some of you are on live, where you're watching from, and who you are. So say hello in the comments. So that I know who I'm talking to. So I wanted to do this really short training because we do get a lot of questions. And I do think that there is a lot of misconception around what an online business is. What is an online practice? Because, contrary to popular belief, an online business is not the same thing as having a digital program. You can have a digital program and not have an online business. You could just offer it, sell it, people can download it and consume it, and that's the end of it. That's not the same thing as having the online business. Hello, Cindy. Hello from Iowa. Hello, hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. And so that's not the same thing. So I really wanted to talk about what an online business is so that you can make the decision for yourself if that's something that you want to pursue. We have a massive community of almost 30,000 practitioners and coaches in my Facebook group called Take Your Health Practice Online. And I see a lot of questions that lead me to believe that there's still this mystique about what an online business actually is. So I want to go through that with you, and I want to ask you some questions to help you identify if making the move online, either partially or fully, is the next best move for you, so that you can then go and invest in that model and invest in the skills that are needed to be successful online. So let me dive in. I'm going to use some slides here. So the question really is, what is an online business? Is having an online practice right for me? And that's what I want you to ask yourself if you are considering, moving online, and maybe you have a clinical practice right now. Maybe you don't have any experience at all. Maybe you have a little bit of experience, seeing clients one-on-one in your community. Either they come to your house or they're family members or whatever it is. Maybe you don't have a big social media presence or even like an email list. And so you're wondering, is this right for me? Maybe you're afraid of the tech. Maybe you're afraid to put yourself out there, and you don't really know what having an online business that transforms clients' or patients' lives really entails. So let me know where you're watching from. Say hello in the comments as I go through this very short sort of mini training to help you get super clear on what an online business is. So let's dive in. The question that I really want you to ask yourself, and this seems big, it seems a little esoteric, it seems a little grandiose, but what kind of business and lifestyle do you desire? My background is as a registered holistic nutritionist. I graduated in 2007, and I immediately went to rent a clinic space in a chiropractic office because that's what I was taught to do. I didn't really know that there was any other way. And to be honest, back in 2007, there really wasn't. There really wasn't really any other options available, at least that I knew of. And the online world was just getting started. And so I didn't really ask myself that question because I didn't even know to. I didn't know to ask myself, what kind of business and what kind of lifestyle do I desire? And it wasn't until I had my daughter, just several months after becoming a nutritionist, that I realized this is actually not an ideal practice model for me. I'm newly married. I am a new mom. I have a new practice, and I am never home. I am never home, and I never got to put her to bed because, I mean, listen, like after 6 to 8 months when I went back to work, but I never got to do night times because as a service provider, I had to be available when my clients were available. And that didn't feel good to me at all. I didn't like having to leave the house at 4 o'clock to go to work. I really felt trapped by the practice model that I was taught. And so maybe you're in a similar situation where you are having to work on your clients' or patients' off hours, which is mornings, late afternoons, evenings, weekends, and it doesn't provide you with time freedom. And I know that word time freedom is a bit of a buzzword, but it's important. It's important to think about what kind of lifestyle you desire. I wanted to be able to be home with my kids for a sick day. I wanted to be able to, be home with them when school was done and not have to spend from 4 to 9 o'clock at night on calls or in my office seeing clients. I didn't want that life. I didn't know at the time that there was another option, so it just made me feel super trapped. And so maybe that's something that you feel, where you feel like you are bound by the model that you're in. Maybe you're a chiropractor, or maybe you're a naturopath, or maybe you are a personal trainer, or you're a yoga instructor, and you feel totally bound by the model that you're in that dictates that you must work when your clients or patients are available. And that feels really constraining. And then the other part of the question is, what kind of business do you desire? And this is a really important question. I didn't know that there was different types of business models. I didn't understand that when I first started, likely because they weren't readily available to me back then. The business model was you finish school, you rent a clinic space, you see clients one-to-one, they pay you for your time, you give them a protocol, and they go away, and likely you don't see them again, right? Or maybe they come back for some follow-ups. And what I very quickly realized was that put me into the position of being a service provider. And so what a service provider is, and likely you are a service provider, it feels very self-promotion, where you're like, buy my time, come, are you going to come for a follow-up? Are you going to come for a follow-up? Are you going to book? Are you going to book? Can you refer, right, your friends to me? A service provider sells one-off time sessions. So when you are providing a service, even as a chiropractor, even as a naturopathic doctor, even as an osteopath, you are providing a service in exchange for money. And that is how it is viewed. So when something is viewed like that, it is viewed as a commodity. And when it is viewed as a commodity, you have to compete on price because there's no inherent value in that. And when you are operating in this way, it does feel like the market is saturated. It does feel like, you're just another chiropractor or you're just another naturopath and you have to compete on price because you are selling a service. And I felt like that for a long time, before I created my signature program called Wow Weight Loss, and before I really understood the difference between running a transactional model and a transformational model, I was stuck with this like revolving door of new person after new person after new person. And like literally it felt like, okay, we're trading. Like I'm giving you 60 minutes of my time and I'm going to give you a 15-page PDF and then you're going to give me $150. And that's what it felt like. Because when you operate as a service provider, you are transacting time for money. And that doesn't leave space for care, that doesn't leave space for accountability, that doesn't leave space for sort of in between session education, that doesn't leave space for, there's no container for accountability, there's no container for the level of service, the level of support that your clients and patients actually need in order to get the end result that they want. Because you are transacting time for money, there is no container for community support and accountability. And those are the things that they really, really need to be able to have a transformative result. And so as a service provider, you're paid for your time. You're limited to what you can do because of that time. You're limited based on your own availability and the client or patient availability. And so there is a cap as to how much impact and how much profit and how much revenue you can generate in your practice, your business. There's no predictability, there's no security, and there's a lack of scalability. There are only so many 7 to 7:30 p.m. Tuesday time slots available, right? Hi, Lily. Hi, Delon. Hi. There's only so many time slots available. And so you are severely limited as a service provider in that model. And we call that model the transactional model because you are transacting. Let's make no mistake about it. Right? There's no community, there's no ongoing support, there's no ongoing education, and there's no ongoing accountability. You are transacting time for money. That is what's happening. And when that happens, you are unable to really give the service at the level that you desperately want to. Like, I think in your gut, at least this is how I felt, that you could be doing so much more for your patients and your clients, but there's no bandwidth and there's no time. And frankly, you're not being paid for it. So why would you do it? If we're being honest, right? If we're being honest. And so when it comes to thinking about the kind of business that you want, this is where I was in 2007, 2008, 2009. Although the first year and a half, I didn't even have clients because I didn't know what I was doing. So it really wasn't until I started to pick up steam and started to see clients on a one-on-one basis with this like hour session and a 30-minute follow-up that it felt really empty. It felt like a revolving door and it felt really, really empty. And I didn't like it. I didn't like that feeling. And so I wanted to be able to provide a transformation. I wanted to feel super connected to my clients. I wanted to build community. I wanted to be able to have the kind of business that supported my lifestyle, that enabled me to be the kind of mom and be present with my children and, to go for a walk in the afternoon if I so choose to. I wanted to be in control of my time, within reason, obviously. And if anybody tells you otherwise, they're lying. But like, if you have, in your business, there's not, especially if you're the business owner, there's no such thing as 100% time freedom. Like, let's just be honest. But, given the fact that you are the founder, you are the boss, I schedule the calls when it's good for me. Right. And so I really wanted the type of business that afforded me the opportunity to be viewed as an expert. I really wanted to be known for something. I didn't want to just be, the chiro down the street or the nutritionist down the street. I really wanted to be known for something. And when I created my signature program, Wow Weight Loss, I was known as the Wow Girl. And I wore that title so proud because I was building up a reputation. I was becoming known as the expert in menopausal weight loss. And people would drive for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour to come to a session with me. That's a big deal. I wanted that. I wanted a community of people who were looking to me to solve the problem. I didn't want just randoms off the street. I genuinely wanted a community of women who felt a kinship to one another, who became friends. And so many of my clients, because I put them in a group together, so many of my clients then and so many of my clients now have literally built true offline friendships because of my desire to have this type of business. And I feel so proud about that. I wanted to have an automated program that delivers transformation on demand. I did not want to be repeating myself over and over and over again when I could simply just record it, put it up into a membership site, and have it available for my clients on demand so that they were not also capped by my availability. I felt that was kind. Right? I wanted an opportunity to charge a higher than average fee. At the time, in 2009, which was a long time ago, in 2009, when all of my nutritionist colleagues were charging $150, right? I was charging like $997 for a 12-week program. That was unheard of back then. I was putting 12 and 15 people into a group and I was making $2,500. Like, that was unheard of. I wanted that. I did not want to be, transacting time for money. I wanted a different way to serve the people that most wanted my help. And it didn't exist. So I created it. It didn't exist, right? Or at least I was not aware of the sort of ongoing enrollment group model. And I also wanted a rinse and repeat system that worked independently of me so that when I had my second child, I could hire other nutritionists to go in and run my program exactly the same way that I ran it, right? And now all of a sudden, my business was scalable, right? And it was easy. I could just, here's my system. Here's the way that it works. We have practitioners and coaches now who've been working with me for a while who are bringing in coaches to coach their clients so that they can scale and grow and enroll 10, 15, 20, 30 people a month into their program. And they're able to do that because they have a system in place. It's not this time for money situation, which is not scalable at all. And so if you're thinking about having an online business, if you're like, can I really do this? These are the things that I want you to think about, the kind of business you want. Do you want to have a community, right? Do you want to have an automated program that if needed, you could fuse one-to-one client or patient sessions into that runs on autopilot? Do you want to charge an above average fee that is maybe, higher than what other people in your industry are commanding? Do you want to do that? What kind of lifestyle do you want, right? Do you want to have a system that works independently of you? And these are some really simple things to think about. So As you're thinking about those things, let's talk about what an online business is. The 5 simple steps to successful online business. So, no matter if it's online or offline, these are necessities no matter what. I just don't think clinic owners, I don't think clinicians and practitioners think about their clinical practice in this way. They do not treat, at least in my experience, they do not treat their clinical practice like a proper business. And so if you are moving online, these are the must-have things that would enable you to be wildly successful. Number 1, predictable prospecting and audience growth. You need a way to consistently bring in new people who have the problem that you solve into your world. It's not like a clinic where, people refer in that way, or they like drive by, or they do like a Google search for their area. It's not the same. So we need to have a mechanism in place where the people that are searching on Google and Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest for answers to their problem can find you. And then we need to be able to have sequences in place where you build trust, and you earn trust, and you can edutain. You can educate them and you can entertain them. You can demonstrate that you know what it is that they are dealing with and that you have a solution, and you can nurture and get them to like you and build trust. Because without trust, they won't buy. Without trust, they're not going to want to work with you. You're not selling socks, they're not buying socks. There needs to be established trust. And then once that happens, then we move into the assess, qualify, and close sequence. So this is after they realize, like, oh, she has a solution. Like, I've been struggling with this for years. He has this system. I need to know more about it. And that's where you put them through the first coaching conversation, where you can have an enrollment conversation that is very similar to a traditional coaching call, except that you are qualifying them and enrolling them into your program. But this is the first opportunity that you have to actually coach with them in a one-on-one fashion. And then once they become a client, you need an automated program. That doesn't mean that you can't work one-on-one with patients. We have many licensed and regulated practitioners that fuse together one-on-one care with their automated online signature program so that they can still scale in their province, in their state, and outside. So after the person becomes a client or a patient, they go through this incredible, high-touch, supportive, fully accountable process that delivers transformation on demand. And then, because they've already gotten, let's say, that first level transformation with you, they're coming back to you and they're saying, what's next? I want to keep going with you. You have gotten me here. I want to go here. And now you have a client for life. And this is how you build a loyal community of clients and audience members who look to you as an expert. And that is really, what you need. You don't need to have a million programs. You don't need to have a massive following. But you must have those 5 things in that order, because when you want to have an online business, you got to take strangers and turn them into trusting prospects, and then turn them into clients. And then you got to deliver on the transformation in that order. It's not random. It's not chaotic. It's much simpler than most make it out to be, but it's not easy. And it's not easy because none of us were taught to work with clients or patients in this way. Not a single one of us. Right? We're taught how to actually coach, right? I mean, maybe if you are a life coach or you are a health coach, you were taught to coach, but we work with many a health coach and many a life coach. And while they were taught to coach, they weren't taught to take the prospect on the journey and deliver transformation. They just weren't. And so having These skills are so incredibly important. Being able to coach versus prescribe. So prescribe meaning you might still need to prescribe depending on the type of practitioner you are, but there's a difference between being like very clinical and very like, matter of fact and coaching someone through transformation. There's a big difference. Being able to show versus tell. When you're online, you need to show. You need to show yourself. You need to show results. You need to demonstrate who you are. You need to show the transformation. It's not just a conversation like you're a professor, speaking at your students. Most practitioners and coaches operate that way on social media, where they speak at people in their email and all of that. That does not work in the online world. It does not work. Authority versus being a friend. So many practitioners and coaches get stuck in the friend zone. Don't get stuck in the friend zone because you are afraid to be an authority. They are coming to you to draw that hard line in the sand. That is what they are coming to you for. And so if you're all nicey, and if you're all like, sure, I can, give you coaching for free and I will never expect anything and I will not tell you how I can help you because I don't want you to think I'm salesy, you are going to get stuck in the friend zone. And the friend zone is no place to be because you cannot deliver a transformation in the friend zone. And you are here to deliver transformation. You cannot deliver a transformation in the friend zone because you don't have the authority to actually deliver transformation. They're not going to take you seriously because your recommendations, your advice doesn't mean anything to them because they haven't deemed you influential. They haven't deemed you an authority because you are trying to play the role of a friend. And when you position yourself as the authority from the start, you automatically earn respect, right? You automatically get a level of credibility. And when you have a level of credibility and respect, you get listened to. And therefore you then have the position to deliver transformation. And most coaches and practitioners are really, really scared to step into that position of authority. They're petrified to do it, except that is one of the skills that you need to be successful online. The next one is trust. No one will pay you a dime if they don't trust you on some level. And so how do you develop trust? You show up and you edutain and you show up as an authority saying like, this is what I experienced and this is what came out of it. And this is why I do what I do. And I'm so purpose driven to be able to work with whoever to help them get whatever transformation, right? Where you consistently show up over time and you don't, ghost your email subscribers or like disappear off social media for weeks at a time because life got in the way. You show up for work every day like it's your job. Right? These are the skills that make you successful online. It is not some Instagram hashtag tactic. It is not the number of followers you have. It is not what your group is called. It is not the name of your program or the price. It is these skills that make you successful online. And then the last one is action versus thinking. Having theoretical knowledge doesn't equate to you being successful. Having theoretical knowledge doesn't equate to you doing anything. How many times have you read a book and done nothing? How many times have you consumed free content and not executed on it? So one of the most important skills that is required for any type of business success, online or offline, is the ability to take fast, imperfect action and fail your way to success. Because what that means is you're doing something. Because without failure, I guarantee you're doing nothing. If you can say to me, oh, I didn't fail ever, I'm like, then you weren't doing anything. Because not everything works out. And so these are the traits, these are the skills that lead to online success. I mean, listen, these are the skills that lead to any type of success, no matter what your goal is, no matter what your dreams are. But when you want an online business, You have to be able to coach and show up in an authoritative stance, in an authoritative expert posture. And that doesn't mean being boastful or over the top or loud. It means standing in your power and saying, I know things that can help you. Let me educate you. Let me help you, right? You got to put in the time to earn trust. And that will require you to take action. And then when you do those things, these are the types of results that you get online. Where you're able to start in May with 0 email list, 0 program, 0 social media following, 0 anything, and then generate $12,500 and have that continue month after month after month, working from home, having time freedom. Is it a lot of work? Of course it is. Do you work more at the beginning in year 1 and 2 than you do in year 3, 4, and 5? Yes, you do, because you're building. But what are you choosing to build is the question. That's what I want you to think about. If you're going to put time and energy into something, right? Let's talk about the business and lifestyle that you desire. Because at the end of the day, I don't want you spending all your time and all your energy building a job for yourself. And that's what being a service provider is. You've built a job for yourself, because when you don't go to work, you don't get paid. That's a job. That's not a business, right? And so I want you to be able to have the kind of lifestyle that you desire. I want you to be able to have the kind of business you desire, including building a community, because there's so much fulfillment in building community. I want you to be able to provide the support and the accountability that your clients and patients need in order to deliver the transformation that you know you can and that they so desperately want. Right? Like, that is so, so, so important. And so if you're wondering, like, hey, could I do this? I'm an osteopath. I'm a massage therapist. I'm a health coach. I'm a life coach. I'm a parenting expert. I'm an aromatherapist. I'm a licensed psychotherapist. If you're wondering, can I have an online business? Will this work for me? How does this work? There's so many legalities involved. I'm not sure how I can wrap my head around it. Let's have a chat. We are trained to be able to answer these questions. We have so much knowledge around regulations and licensing. And whether you're in the US, Australia, global, Canada, it doesn't matter. We've done our due diligence to be able to answer your questions in a very professional and ethical way. Because we are talking about regulations and licensing. We're talking about scope of practice. We're talking about liability. These are not things to mess around with. And so if you are curious as to what an online business would look like for you, please go and apply for a call. You can go to thewbh.com/fast track, and you can apply to speak with us, and we can give you some guidance, and we can help you to identify the steps that it will take for you to start and grow online. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much, and we will talk again soon. Bye.